È strano se sfiorandomi riemergerai dal buio. Riposa un po'.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Steven Zala Baseball Show here on a beautiful June 19th here in Northern California. My name is Steven Hughes, the host of Steven Zala Baseball Show. Another show and breaking news, well, some updates. The first Dodgers-Yankees game, or pardon me, actually the second one, is about to finish soon. 2 outs in the top of the ninth inning. A nice battle right here. 6-4, the Yankees are leading. Mariano Rivera on the mound against Yasiel Puig, the superstar, the rookie superstar outfielder for the Los Angeles Dodgers. It's a 2-1 count right now. If you want to check out probably the last of that game, looks like, tune into MLB Network. It is on right now. 2-2, the count is now. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Let's give you some updates on some other scores around the league. Here in Northern California, the San Francisco Giants playing the afternoon game against the San Diego Padres. It is 1-0 in the top of the third. And let's go all the way to the East Coast now, where Baltimore is just crushing Detroit now, 13-3, as that game's about to wrap out. That is in the bottom of the ninth. And then lastly, let's take it back to Arizona. In the bottom second is scoreless as the Marlins are playing the Diamondbacks. Other games today, just looking at the list, the Dodgers and the Yankees are going to be playing again. And speaking of the Los Angeles Dodgers and the New York Yankees, their game just ended. 6-4 is your final score. Mariano Rivera gets the job done. Some other games around the league: Kansas City and Cleveland, Washington and Philadelphia, Colorado, Toronto, Tampa Bay, Boston, New York, Atlanta, Pittsburgh, and Cincinnati. Those games will be at 4 o'clock West Coast time, 7 o'clock Eastern. For the A's and Texas game, that's going to be at 8:05 Eastern time, 5:05 West Coast time. Also some games at the 5 Western, 8 Eastern time. Chicago, Minnesota, Milwaukee, Houston, and Chicago, St. Louis in the 7 o'clock Western, 10 o'clock Eastern game. It's going to be Seattle and the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Let's go to our first piece of news. Let's go straight to the Yankees. The Yankees have suffered 2 more injury blows on Tuesday. Ironically, first baseman Mark Teixeira has landed back on the disabled list, and fellow infielder Kevin Youkilis has been lost for at least 10 to 12 weeks. Teixeira has inflammation in his right wrist, the same wrist which caused him to miss the first 53 games of the season. Joe Girardi believes that Teixeira will be back when the 50-day DL stint is up. This is what Girardi said, quote, "We think it is at least going to be a week, so our thought process is let's just make sure that we're not short-handed for a week. And then if he's healthy after a week, we can give a few at-bats of rehab, and then we'll have him back," end quote. Teixeira said he re-injured the wrist while doing some extra work on his mechanics with hitting coach Kevin Long in Anaheim over the weekend. Teixeira said this, quote, "It's inflammation. You pick a scab too much, it's going to keep bleeding. You got to let it heal. Just probably overdid it a little bit," end quote. Youkilis will be out far longer. He was examined by renowned back specialist Dr. Robert Watkins and diagnosed with a herniated disc, which will require surgery. This is different from the back injury that kept him out for 30 games earlier this year. Youkilis returns to the team May 31st, but has just been 5 for 41 at the plate since. As of now, the Yankees will continue to use David Adams and Jason Nix at third base. Lyle Overbay will return to the starting first base job. For other Yankee news, 2 pieces of news on Alex Rodriguez. First, on his injury rehab. Rodriguez has continued his rehab in Tampa Bay. He tracked pitches, in quotes, on Tuesday, according to Girardi. But Brian Cashman, the GM for the Yankees, said he still has no projected timetable for Rodriguez's return. So, in that instance, let's go to the other piece of news involving Alex Rodriguez. Previously elusive figure in the biogenist performance-enhancing drug scandal has spoken out pretty much, saying clinic founder Anthony Bosch visited Alex Rodriguez during last year's ALCS after the Yankees strugglers saw his help amid a 1-for-9 slump. The Yankees, when contacted by the New York Daily News, said they had no knowledge of Bosch's presence in Detroit at the ALCS. The Tigers swept the Yankees before going on to lose the World Series in a sweep against the Giants. Porter Fisher, who has been described in some clinic documents as a marketing director before having an apparent falling out with Bosch last year, also told the Miami News Times in a story published on the weekly newspaper's website that the MLB paid him $5,000 for clinic records he turned over to the league in its investigation of the clinic's South Florida reach. Sources have told ESPN's Outside the Lines that Fisher left Biogenesis of America in September. Fisher, two sources said, had invested $20,000 in the company, but grew disenchanted with Bosch and demanded his money back. The sources said Bosch eventually paid Fisher the $20,000, but refused to pay an additional $4,000 that Fisher said he was owed. Bosch informed A-Rod that Fisher was threatening to expose the operation, and Rodriguez gave Bosch at least $4,000 to make it go away, the sources say. So they have a bribery here, unfortunately, in the hands of MLB investigators. Investigators also found some of Fisher's information as it relates to Alex Rodriguez credible, sources have previously told ESPN. The source does come from ESPN.com news services. Let's go to some draft news. The Astros have signed top pick right-hander Mark Appel out of Stanford. The 21-year-old Appel was 10-4 with 4 complete games this year for the Cardinal, with a 2.12 ERA as a senior this year. He had 130 strikeouts and 106 in the third innings pitched and allowed opponents a 203 batting average. Appel is an Astros fan who grew up in West Houston before moving to California at the age of 12. This is what Astros GM Jeff Luhnow said on draft night. I talked to him and told him, "Welcome home. It's a kid's dream to go first in the country, first in the draft, and be taken by your hometown team. Just doesn't get any better than that. It's also a really great opportunity for us." End quote. The Astros took Appel number 1 overall a year after passing on the hometown kid, and instead choosing 17-year-old shortstop Carlos Correa from Puerto Rico. Appel was selected instead last year by Pittsburgh as he slid down to number 8, but turned down a $3.8 million offer and returned to Stanford for his senior year. So the Astros are having a lot of high standards for the hometown kid as he liked to impress the organization that he was rooting on his entire childhood. Let's go to Taiwan, but there's one player that is in Taiwan. It is Manny Ramirez, but he's leaving Taiwan. After 49 games, Manny Ramirez's time in Taiwan appears to be up. Ramirez's team in Taiwan, the EDA Rhinos, released a statement Tuesday saying the veteran slugger will lead the team. Ramirez is expected to leave Taiwan on Thursday. This is what the team said in his statement, quote, "We regret Ramirez's decision to leave Taiwan, but we would also like to wish him all the best for what he has brought to us and the prosperity for baseball in Taiwan." End quote. Ramirez had .352 with 43 RBIs and 8 home runs, placing him in the top 3 of the major offensive statistical categories according to the Taipei Times. According to the newspaper, the Rhinos attempted to negotiate with Ramirez to continue the partnership and gave him several undisclosed raises. While Ramirez wishes to be closer to his family, the Times said he has also drawn interest from clubs in Japan. In his 19-year MLB career, Ramirez hit .312 with 555 home runs while playing for 5 different teams: Indians, Red Sox, Dodgers, and 2 other teams. When we come back, actually, we're going to go to some injury reports as well. Past the Yankees stuff, we'll look at Pablo Sandoval for the Giants fans as he's expected to begin a rehab assignment. Clay Buchholz and Carlos Ruiz, who's coming in, who's coming out of the DL, and some more news out of the disabled list in the Major League Baseball world. When we come back to Stevens All Baseball Show here on Spreaker.com in affiliation with the National Sports Radio Station.
You want my styles like Hierro, dancing on my words on the edge of Sombrero. The gringo, sing flows, yes, the cockazoid. Kill Agnes with a glance from the pupil of annoyed. A mic stored in underwear drawers of my dresser. Rhymes from True God, yours is child of a lesser. A lowercase G hanging under the bar. My G's above and beyond and shining bright from afar like North Star. Guided me to Gibson, the major Dr. stranger, like blase blah bringing danger. Infermo, subharmonico sick. Stand tall, surfing ink from Bic. Push the click, now I'm running. Leading down the L-pen shaft. And spin a phonograph to exercise a paragraph. Epitaph, from killing off the flesh with 808. A low frequency to give you something to hate. We tie words up tight with lasso. With art from the soul, Pablo Picasso. And paintbrush in my discussion. When we touching, time sublime with rap flow. We tie words up tight with lasso. With art from the soul, Pablo Picasso. And paintbrush in my discussion.
And we're back, folks. Welcome back to Steven's Baseball Show here. It looks like I'm trying to look for the commercial break button, but I guess it's not here. We'll probably have to fix that and talk to our national sports radio station president, Robert Dieters, on that stuff. So let's go to the injuries around the league. Pablo Sandoval is set for the minors. For Giants fans, that must be a relief after a few injuries lately have been scaring a lot of fans and putting in a bunch of different and new players, such as Juan Perez, who won the game for the Giants after getting a game-winning RBI single back in the bottom of the 8th of last night's game. But Pablo Sandoval is expected to begin his rehab assignment in the minors on Friday. The reigning World Series MVP has been on the disabled list since June 9th with a strained left foot. The All-Star took batting practice and field grounders before San Francisco's game against San Diego yesterday. Giants manager Bruce Bochy says Sandoval will likely be the designated hitter for Class A San Jose when he returns to action. Who's in and who's out of the DL? For the Boston Red Sox, it's bad, the bad way. Clay Buchholz will be heading to the disabled list, who has a strained trapezius muscle in his neck. His placement in the disabled list is retroactive to June 9th. Buchholz threw a bullpen session before Tuesday night's game against Tampa Bay, but apparently did not show sufficient progress to clear him to start this weekend. This is what John Farrell said, the Boston manager, saying, quote, "We didn't feel like we had enough time to give him the proper amount of work to prepare for the start. We didn't want to take any chances," end quote. Buchholz will not be eligible to pitch until June 25th when the Sox play the Colorado Rockies in Fenway, a little rematch of the 2007 World Series. The Red Sox also placed catcher David Ross on the 7-day concussion disabled list. Ross was placed on the list back on May 12th and missed 11 games before being activated on May 24th. Ross was hit by another foul ball in the Thursday and Friday night's game against the Baltimore Orioles. Though he finished the game, he hasn't played since. This is what Farrell said again, this time on the David Ross issue. He's still having symptoms with the concussion. The foul tip the other day in Baltimore kind of brought some of those symptoms back, end quote. To replace Ross and Buchholz, the Red Sox called up reliever Alex Wilson and catcher Ryan Lavarnway from Pawtucket, AAA, with hopes that they would arrive at some point during Tuesday's doubleheader, which was yesterday, as they took on a doubleheader against the Orioles. The Paw Sox were playing in Columbus at the time. The Red Sox will need another starter this Saturday in Detroit. The most likely candidate for a call-up at this stage will appear to be Alan Webster, who pitched one hit ball over 6 scoreless innings against Buffalo in his most recent start on Friday, and wasn't slated to start again until Thursday. The Sox have not announced rotation plans past Wednesday, when Dempster is scheduled to pitch the series finale against the Rays. John Lackey, coming off of his strong start against Baltimore on Saturday, 7 innings and 2 earned, figures to stay on the regular rest and pitch the series opener in Detroit on Thursday night. It's conceivable that Farrell could pitch Webster on 6 days rest and give John Lester, who pitched Sunday, an extra day of rest and pitch him Saturday. So, with this injury with Clay Buchholz, a lot of rotation situations involving rest and extra days rest and all of that fun stuff. So that was the bad way to get on the DL, or involving the DL. Let's get some good news out of the DL. The Phillies have activated catcher Carlos Ruiz from the DL. Ruiz, an All-Star last year, was sidelined with a hamstring injury. To make room for Ruiz, catcher Steve Luard was sent to AAA Lehigh Valley before the start of the game against the Washington Nationals. Ruiz batted 8th for Philadelphia and went 1 for 3 and caught all 9 innings of the Phillies' 4-2 win. Ruiz has played in 16 games and was hitting .235 with 2 RBIs before going on the disabled list. He was suspended the first 25 games for using a banned amphetamine. So, good news for the Phillies over there with Carlos Ruiz coming back, and also obviously one of the best catchers when he is playing pretty much every day. Some notable injuries from pretty much every team. For the Diamondbacks, Adam Eaton, center fielder, the star, has a left elbow strain. He's been on the 15-day DL for a very long time. Some notable news. Brandon McCarthy, who remember had that stroke, he's already on the DL per se since May 31st. His right shoulder inflammation. Evan Gattis has just been put on the DL yesterday. Oblique strain has put him on the 15-day disabled list. He's been a key power hitter trying to, replace the Marion McCann, who's been injured lately. For the Boston Red Sox, as I said, David Ross is on the concussion list. He's been on there since June 15th. David Jesus, 3 days ago, 15-day DL with a right shoulder sprain. Jake Peavy has been on there for 14 days, a fractured rib. He's going to be out for 4 to 6 weeks, but he'll be still on the 15-day DL. Jonathan Broxton, since the 14th, was on the 15-day DL with a right elbow flexor mass strain. Long little sentence right there. Colorado Rockies, the big one, like I said on the last show, Troy Tulowitzki's injury, a fractured rib in the right rib cage on the 15-day DL, but he's going to be out for more than just 15 days. For the Detroit Tigers, 2 days ago, Alex Vila was put on the 15-day DL with a left forearm contusion. Going down the list here, Ryan Braun, about more than a week ago, right thumb contusion, 15-day DL for him. He's been linked with the Biogenes situation, along with Alex Rodriguez and 20 other MLB players. For the New York Mets, second baseman Justin Turner, and intercostal strain, if I said that right, on the 15-day DL, though, since a couple days ago on Monday. Like I said earlier, Teixeira, Euclid's on the DL in a 2-day span. Some notable players also on the DL. Chris Granson, broken left pinky finger. That was back in late May. And then Eduardo Nunez on the 60-day DL back on May 6th. Going down the list. AJ Burnett, I said earlier, strained right calf. He's on the 15-day DL. Everett Cabrera, shortstop. He was lost a couple days ago in the series against the Giants. Strained left hamstring. He's on the 15-day DL. I told you guys about the rehab assignment Paulo Sandoval was assigned to in Class A San Jose. That's good news over there. Alex Cobb is on the 7-day concussion DL list. He's still trying to get over that line drive to the head that he suffered a few days ago. And that looks like one more, Ramon Ortiz at the Toronto Blue Jays. As of 2 weeks ago, he was on the 15-day DL with a right elbow strain. Other notable injuries from the Blue Jays: Brett Lowry from late May, left ankle sprain, 15-day DL. J. Happ, who was hit by a line drive in Tampa Bay on May 8th, is still on the DL with a head contusion. He was placed on the 60-day DL list. And then also Jose Reyes, sprained left ankle. He was put on the 60-day DL. So obviously some injuries in Toronto, but they're starting to catch up. 7-game winning streak. They were trying to continue that tonight as they're going to be taking on Colorado, who's not really a bad team, but they also have injuries themselves, and that might be a situation. So when we come back here on Steven's All Out Baseball Show, I'll just give you a bunch of more baseball stuff. Looking at what's going to be going on into the All-Star break, some All-Star leaders in the voting, and then to wrap up the show, my regular standings look, and that'll be pretty much it. As I return to Steven's All Out Baseball Show here on Spreaker.com in affiliation with the National Sports Radio Station. Welcome back to CNSL Baseball Show here on Spreaker.com. Again, apologize that we do not have a commercial break, a regular 30-second commercial break. Just had to go through the music and, listen to The Uprising by Muse. Great song. Let's go to the NL All-Star fan voting. All-Star game will be taking place on Tuesday, July 16th. These are results as of June 15th. Unfortunately, a little bit outdated, but this is the best that I can get. Buster Posey in the catcher's role. This is for the All-National League. This is for the National League players. In the catcher's role, Buster Posey and Yadier Molina are having their own two-man competition. Posey has the lead by about less than 100,000 votes. After Molina, who has 2.5 million, is John Buck with only 866,000. Jonathan Lucroy with only 630,000, and then Brian McCann 627,000. At first base, Joey Votto, Paul Goldschmidt, and Alan Craig are the only first basemen that cracked 1 million votes at first base. Joey Votto leads them, who has the most with more than 500,000 votes in second place. Paul Goldschmidt. To round out first base, it will be Brandon Belt and Freddie Freeman. At second base, the Red Zone, Brandon Phillips with 2,021,277 votes. Marcus Scudero, Matt Carpenter, Chase Utley, and Daniel Murphy round out the second base, as Scudero has the best chance of catching up and possibly overtaking Brandon Phillips. At shortstop, the injured Troy Tulowitzki has a 1 million vote lead. In second place, the Giants shortstop Brandon Crawford, who was also injured, but he was injured last night. No word of how long his injury will affect him throughout the rest of the first half of the year, heading into the All-Star break. And at third base, like I said, he was injured, but he still has a 100,000 vote lead. Pablo Sandoval leads the votes at third base. Behind him is the Mets' own David Wright, and then after that will be David Freese with 1.1 million votes. Chris Johnson of the Braves, 829,000 votes, and then Ryan Zimmerman with 686,000 votes. Then the outfield, to round it out, it'll be Beltran, Upton, and Harper. Those are your top three and possible starters out in the outfield. Beltran and Upton have 2 million each, as Harper is close to cracking 2 million, as he is at 1.981 million. After that goes Braun, Cargo, who is also injured, Matt Holliday, Andrew McCutcheon, Hunter Pence, Sin-Chu Chu, and Angel Pagan. Those are your top 10 outfielders from the National League. Let's go to the American League now. This is also, again, as of June 15th. In the catcher's role, Joe Mauer, the usual candidate for All-Star bid, but he's been injured in the last few years, is in first place with 2,127,000 votes. After that goes Matt Wieters with 1.6 million. Then after that, it looks like a two-man race with Mauer and Wieters looking to get the nod, with Brzezinski with 885,000, Carlos Santana of the Indians. Brzezinski is on the Rangers. Carlos Santana of the Indians is at 864,000, and then Jared Saltalamacchia of the Red Sox, 748,000. First baseman for first base in the AL, Chris Davis is at 2.999, and it's just a matter of hours that he cracks 3 million votes. He's been the power hitter for the Orioles in the American League, as he leads the American League in home runs. After that goes Prince Fielder of the Tigers, 1.9 million. Mike Napoli of the Red Sox at 1,552,000 votes. After that, it'll go Pujols. And then Mitch Moreland. Pujols not getting a lot of votes this year in the All-Star voting. Second baseman Robinson Cano is in first place for the Yankees, 2.4 million. After that goes Pedroia of the Red Sox at 1.6 million. Ian Kinsler of the Rangers, 1.1 million. And then Omar Fonte and Jose Altuve, the Astros, Jose Altuve. He has 734,000 votes. Omar Fonte with 872,000. At shortstop, J.J. Hardy has 1.8 million. He leads it by 500,000 with Elvis Andrews behind at 1.3 million. Jari Peralta, Jed Lowry, and Derek Jeter, who hasn't played a single game all year, Jared Jeter's in 5th with 669,000 votes. And to round out the infield at third base, Miguel Cabrera with the most votes by any player in both leagues from votes-wise. Miguel Cabrera at 3.2 million votes. Manny Machado, he's in second place down, just a good 1.6 million. After that, I'll go Beltre, Longoria, and Donaldson at the Oakland Athletics. In the outfield, you have Adam Jones, Mike Trout, and Nick Markakis. Those will be your projected starters if the All-Star voting ended right now. Torrey Hunter, Jose Bautista, and Nelson Cruz are your next three. After that goes Nate McLaughlin, the Orioles, Alex Gordon, the Royals, and Jacoby Ellsbury, the Red Sox. All 9 of those guys do have 1 million votes. And at the DH spot, David Ortiz leads the way with 2.4 million votes. After that goes Lance Berkman of the Rangers with 1.2. Edwin Encarnacion with 769,000. Mark Reynolds of the Indians with 745,000. And Mark Trumbo of the Angels, 722,000 votes. Let's go to the Dodgers, as the Dodgers are expecting Ted Lilly, starting left-handed pitcher, to return soon. The Dodgers are looking at Ted Lilly's most recent injury as one that he should be able to return from relatively soon. Lilly was placed on the 15-day DL on June 9th, retroactive of June 5th, with a neck sprain, and he received an epidural injection June 11th. Manley said Lilly is rehabbing in Los Angeles and has resumed throwing, but the skipper was unaware if Lilly had thrown a bullpen session. The Dodgers don't consider him an option to pitch Sunday's game in San Diego, for which they are now scrambling to find a star because of the disruption to the rotation caused by Tuesday night's rainout at Yankee Stadium, which I said earlier that the Dodgers and the Yankees will play another game very shortly, 4 Pacific, 7 Eastern, so in about less than 3 hours, the Dodgers and the Yankees are going to go at it once again. The Dodgers also announced that Scott Albert underwent Tommy John surgery on June 7th is out for the year. So after that, let's go to the NL East to wrap up this part of the show, as Matt Harvey yesterday in the first game of a doubleheader was flirting with a no-no as he finished a career-high 13 batters. He is a definite all-star pick. He probably, since it's in New York this year for the All-Star game, I'm pretty sure he could be the starter. Until Tuesday, Matt Harvey had always been the main event, the man. I'll say he's 6-1 with a below 3 ERA. In each of his first 24 games as a big leaguer, he was the overriding reason why people came to the ballpark, flipped on their televisions, and watched mesmerized as he succeeded. Then Zach Wheeler came along, arriving at Turner Field for the second half of the doubleheader, and forcing Harvey, for the first time ever, to the undercard. All Harvey did was respond with one of the better performances of his already sublime young career in Game 1. Holding the Braves to one hit over the first 7 innings of the game, the Mets hung on to win 4-3. This is what the manager of the Mets, Terry Collins, said about Matt Harvey. He loves to face huge challenges. Now with Zach here and all the publicity, let's face it, Harvey is the guy. He's the guy here, and with all the attention to Zach, he might have said, I'm still the guy here. Electric from the start, Harvey caught Jordan Schaefer look at the 97-mile-per-hour fastball in the inside corner to open the first, with Jason Hayward with a 100-mile-per-hour heat to end the inning, and struck out a career-high 13 in total. Bobby Purnell got the save for the Mets, as the Braves were held to only 6 hits, especially with that's a bit of a surprise after what the Braves have done in the offseason to boost their hitting, and what we've seen already this year with the likes of Evan Gattis, Jason Hayward hitting better, Justin Upton, big time, Freddie Freeman doing a lot of good work over there. So a lot of good things over in Atlanta and New York. New York is not getting the better end of it. Their offense is struggling. That's the reason why they're 14 games below 500. But if they get a little bit better, I think the second half will be very beneficial to them and making it scare the other teams in the NL East, like the Braves and the Nationals, and possibly the Phillies. So anyway, let's go to one more commercial break. When we come back, I'll wrap up the show with the standings outlook, looking at all 6 divisions and what we might be looking for heading into the All-Star break as we continue and kept to the end of Steven's All Out Baseball Show here on Spreaker.com in affiliation with the NSRS, also known as the National Sports Radio Station.
You want my styles like Hierro, dancing on my words on the edge of sombrero. The gringo sing flows, yes, the cockatoid. Kill Agnes with a glance from the pupil of annoyed. A mic stored in underwear drawers of my dresser. Rhymes from True God, yours is child of Melissa. A lowercase G hanging under the bar. My G's above and beyond and shining bright from afar like North Star. Guided me to Gibson, the manger, Dr. Stranger. Like Blase Blah, bringing danger. Infermos of Harmonico sick. Stand tall, surfing ink from Bic. Push the click, now I'm running. Leading down the L-pen shaft and spin a phonograph to exercise a paragraph. Epitaph from killing off the flesh with 808. A low frequency to give you something to hate. We tie words up tight with lasso. With art from the soul, Pablo Picasso. And paintbrush in my discussion when we touching time sublime with rap flow. We tie words up tight with lasso. With art from the soul, Pablo Picasso. And paintbrush in my discussion when we touching Russian. It's like that though. Yo, I ride upon the trail, my heart's pumping oxygen like Indians and moccasins. I've been cheated and crossed. Tossed aside.
Welcome back to the final part of Senior's All Out Baseball Show here on Spreaker.com as we head to the standings outlook to wrap up the show. Let's start in the American League. In the East, the Boston Red Sox, who have been red hot all year, are continuing their streak. They're 6-4 in the last 10, but, you know, they could still get the job done. They're 15 games above 500. They're 2.5 ahead of the Baltimore Orioles, who are 10 games above 500 at 41 and 31. New York Yankees, after that, they're in third, 4 games back of the Boston Red Sox. After that, it goes fourth place. Tampa Bay Rays, they're a game above 500, but they should be looking out for last place Toronto, who has won 7 in a row, really getting back up there. And Toronto is only 2 games below 500, 8.5 behind the Red Sox, though, but only a game and a half behind Tampa Bay, which could possibly fall out because of the recent issues with Alex Cobb being injured and their lack of performance per se, because they've been struggling of late. Let's go to the AL Central. The Detroit Tigers at 39-30. They're not really the dominant team in the AL Central anymore. I feel like Cleveland could do something. Cleveland's 35-35. They're only 4.5 back. It's not like last year. Detroit had probably a 13 game, was ahead 13 games at the All-Star break. It's 4.5 now. There's some competition out there. Detroit should be worried. Kansas City, after that, they're only a half a game back of Cleveland in second place, and then after that goes Minnesota and Chicago, 2 of the worst teams in the American League. And lastly, let's go to the West. The Oakland A's have done beautiful of late. They're 5-5 in the last 10, but in the last month or so, they've really caught up, and they're just doing a great job. 13 games above 500, 3 games ahead the Texas Rangers, which they can make that 4th. They win again tonight. After Texas goes Seattle, Los Angeles, and Houston. Seattle's 10.5 back. LA is only 11 back, and then Houston is a long way out there, 15.5 back of the Oakland A's, and only 3.5 back of the Los Angeles Angels. Had to do a little bit of math there. Sometimes a little brain fart could happen, and that's how life goes. In the National League East now, let's head over to the NL, where the Braves have a commanding lead in the East Division as they're 42-30. They're ahead by 7 games by both the Philadelphia Phillies, who are catching up, and the Washington Nationals. But unfortunately, the Phillies and the Nationals are both below 500. The Phillies and the Nationals are also actually 2 games below 500. They're both at a .486 winning percentage. Braves have lost 2 in a row. Not a big worry. But after the Nationals, it goes to the Mets and the Miami Marlins. The Mets are 12.5 back, and the Marlins, the worst team in Major League Baseball, are 19 games back of the Braves and 22 games below 500. In the NL Central, I got good news for some fans. I don't have to rant about the Houston Astros being terrible anymore. The 5-team NL Central now has St. Louis with a commanding lead, 45-26, but they're only 2.5 ahead of Cincinnati, who is also red hot. A great start to the year by both teams, giving them a great spot heading into the All-Star break. Cincinnati is 43-29, but right behind Cincinnati is also Pittsburgh, who's 42-29, only 3 games behind of St. Louis, a half a game behind Cincinnati. So that 3-team race, it could all unfold after the All-Star break, or it can still go hard until September and late September, probably early October. And then lastly, in the NL West, the San Francisco Giants and the Colorado Rockies, a game and a half behind the leading Arizona Diamondbacks, who are 38-33. After those 3 teams, you have San Diego, who are 2 games back at 36-35. Surprisingly, they've been catching up. I'm really coming from the words of a Giants supporter, since I'm living here in Northern California. I'm kind of glad the San Diego Padres are doing something. They're 2 games back and they're in 4th place. That's a little bit rough, but they're understanding the fact that San Diego is actually doing good, but they're in 4th place and they're a game above 500. But a lot of people are talking about, the Dodgers, 10 games below 500, 7.5 back. Their run differential is a -49. The Giants, they're in 2nd place and they have a -9 run differential. That's a problem. They need to do better. And then the Giants and the Rockies should, take advantage of the fact that Arizona they're struggling. They're kind of struggling. They're losing players. They have players with the DL. They're 3-7 in the last 10. That's obviously not good. The San Diego is starting to get hot. Like I said, they're 8-2 in the last 10. They're starting to catch up now. So the Giants and the Rockies should be cautious, especially the Rockies. They need to pull something out quickly and randomly, I think, because Colorado's lost Cargo. They've lost Tulowitzki, their main franchise player, for another 4 or 5 weeks. So I'll be surprised if Colorado is still in the race for, a spot in the playoffs. And when I say that, I mean a wild card spot, or, at least an NL West division run coming into the second half of the year. So thank you very much, everybody, for listening to my show. Keep up with my page. Like my page on Facebook. It's Stevens All Out Baseball Show. I'll be trying to update and post you guys more on what's going to be going on as we're heading into the All-Star break. The captains of the Home Run Derby on June 15th at Citi Field. For the National League, I think it'll be David Wright. And then for the American League, once again, I'm kind of upset about this. New York Yankees own second baseman Robinson Cano, who won the 2011 Home Run Derby. I'm not happy about the fact that he did not let Billy Butler, Kansas City's own Billy Butler, didn't let a Butler play or participate in the Home Run Derby in Kansas City last year, and then he doesn't do so again. I guess it's a competition for Cano to, be the best out there. But, it's just for the fun of it. I don't get it. But on that note, that's going to be all from me. Keep up with my page on Facebook, like I said. Keep listening to the shows here on the Nashville Sports Radio station. Word from our president that the members of our station are required to do more shows. So, obviously, shows will keep on popping up from our page, so keep listening to them, keep supporting us, and at the end of the day, we thank you for listening to our shows and supporting us and following us, and we'll probably be following you, doing our best to go out and support the people who are supporting us as well. Thank you very much, everybody. To end off, MLB on Fox's own theme song. Good night, everybody.